News Channel 9 at 11 starts right now.
One legal team investigating PFAS contamination in northwest Georgia now sharing the results of tests to find those forever chemicals in the environment. Thanks for joining us for News Channel 9 at 11. I'm Mary Beth Mangrum. News Channel 9's Alex Gajevich-Protich explains what attorneys had to say about those results. Alex.
Mary Beth, PFAS Georgia hosted a town hall in Dalton today, which was open to members of the public, and they discussed contamination statistics, shared stories of people affected by the chemicals, and who they are hoping to hold accountable for it.
My hope is that looking back and looking down, when we get to the other side, you will see that what we did was a good thing. What we did made a difference in your life, made a difference in people's lives.
Attorneys Nick Jackson and Ben Finley from PFAS Georgia are spreading awareness about PFAS chemicals using the results of testing on Northwest Georgia's water, soil, and dust. PFAS is a combination of forever chemicals made during World War II, used for water, heat, and stain resistance.
And it's something that is known as a forever chemical because it's not biodegradable.
Parts per trillion is how these tiny amounts of chemicals are measured. 1 part per trillion is equal to 1 drop of water in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. PFAS Georgia's test revealed the water in northwest Georgia is at 186 parts per trillion. Soil tests were found to be at 5.2 million parts per trillion, and for dust testing, that came out to be at almost 12 million parts per trillion.
The federal standard now is 4 parts per trillion, so anything above 4 parts per trillion would be toxic in the human body.
PFAS Georgia says exposure to too much PFAS chemicals can lead to health issues like birth defects, different types of cancers, and Lou Gehrig's disease.
We've seen a father and son with testicular cancer, 19-year-old son and a 45-year-old dad who both had it with no genetic marker.
Finley says people can try out different water filtering systems to stop the spread of PFAS chemicals, though everyone already has those chemicals inside them.
If you look at a McDonald's wrapper, if you open up a wrapper of a hamburger and you squirt ketchup in it, the ketchup will slide off. It doesn't sink into the paper because the paper has PFAS on it.
PFAS Georgia is suing Mohawk and Shaw Carpentry companies, claiming they use PFAS chemicals in their products. Finley believes both companies knew the harms of the chemicals and could have avoided using them, but proceeded to anyway.
They're largely instrumental in the reason why it landed in Georgia's water and on the ground in Georgia.
Finley says they are in the discovery process of their lawsuits against Mohawk and Shaw, where PFAS is looking to get their hands on documents and take depositions. We reached out to Mohawk and Shaw regarding the lawsuit against them and have not heard back. Mary Beth.
Alex, thank you. According to the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, studies show exposure to certain PFAS may be linked to harmful health effects in humans and animals.
A warm afternoon we had. 76 degrees ended up being the high after a low of 41 this morning. It was a cool start, but we won't be that cold in the morning. We're going to see temperatures holding pretty steady, really. They'll fall a few more degrees. And where we are now is 66, and it's mostly cloudy. Winds are still up out of the southwest at 9 miles per hour. So a very mild weekend of weather is what we're experiencing and will continue to. Highs in the 70s, showers possible by Tuesday, and even overnight tonight, there could be a sprinkle of rain, but that seems very unlikely it would measure any rain. 65 degrees at 9 a.m. tomorrow. We may start out with mostly cloudy skies, but then clearing and into sunshine, 70 degrees at noon. At 4 p.m., it's down to 69 after we get into the low 70s for a high. We'll talk more about that and what's coming up during the next 7 days in a few minutes.
All right, Bill, thank you. Police in Gordon County, Georgia are looking for a man on the run. They say Charles Timothy Battles is a 46-year-old wanted on several charges, including aggravated stalking. Tonight, detectives have filed additional charges of 2 counts of attempted murder and arson against Battles. GCSO says that around 6 a.m., deputy sheriffs and Gordon County Fire Rescue responded to a residential fire on Johnson Drive. First responders found a woman and a small child who, quote, barely escaped with their lives. GCSO says the structure was destroyed, but detectives have recovered an abundance of evidence linking Battles to the crime. He was last seen near Johnson Drive and Boone Ford Road. Police say he is dangerous and ask anyone with information to call 911. A Georgia family is pleading for answers after a hit and run left one airman and father dead. According to this preliminary crash report, Demetrius Norwood III was hit by a box truck around 9 p.m. November 2nd, Norwood was pulled over near the I-24 I-59 split in Dade County to change his girlfriend's flat tire. That report says the driver never stopped and Norwood was pronounced dead at the scene. Norwood's girlfriend and mother of his child, Jada Hughes, says she's committed to getting justice.
Truck driver, he needs to be brought to the front because he's a danger to not only my boyfriend, but other people. We're on our way to Tennessee today, and my son was like, "Oh, Mom, Dad's in the sky, Dad's up there." And it was just like, wow.
Hughes is asking anyone with information to contact her, and you can find that number on newschannel9.com. Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene no longer has the support of President Trump. In a Truth Social post, the president describes her as, quote, wacky, and says he would prefer that someone challenge her in the next election. The Congresswoman also saying this morning, quote, "I'm now being contacted by private security firms with warnings for my safety as a hotbed of threats against me are being fueled and egged on by the most powerful man in the world." Greene went on to thank her supporters during this time in that post to social media. Friday, President Trump ordered the DOJ to investigate what he describes as the connection between high-profile Democrats and Epstein. He denies any wrongdoing. In Charlotte, North Carolina, Border Patrol operations are currently underway. The video you're seeing was obtained by CNN. It shows a man being detained who claimed to be an American citizen. The New York Times reports top Border Patrol official Greg Bovino and his agents were seen in the city in what's being called Operation Charlotte's Web. Bovino was in charge of similar operations in Chicago and Los Angeles. In a statement to outlets, DHS spokeswoman Tricia McLaughlin said they were surging law enforcement to the city to remove public safety threats. Local officials said the operation has created unnecessary fear in the community and highlighted that Charlotte police don't collaborate with federal immigration enforcement. In Alabama, a young girl is recovering after she was attacked by a dog last week. It happened right outside of her home. Lisa Crane spoke with the girl and her mother, who says she wants justice. We want to warn you, some of the images in this story may be disturbing to some viewers.
The dog was walking down the steps and he bit me in the face and started shaking his head.
9-year-old Delilah McKay is being very brave after a dog attack left her bloodied and bruised. These are photos of the emergency responders at the scene. Her injury so serious, her mother says she was airlifted to Children's of Alabama, where doctors took these photos.
The attack happened here at these Hansville apartments last week. McKay tells me that Delilah was sitting here on the steps with her older sister just a few steps down when a child brought out a dog on a leash from an apartment up here, was walking the dog down the stairs. When it got to Delilah, they say it attacked. You can still see the blood stains on the stairs.
They finally got it off, and I guess the dog bit her, the girl that lives with the dog, and got away again. So when she was face down, that's when the picture I showed you of the big hole in her bottom, that's when he came back and got her again.
That's when the dog put a gaping hole in Delilah's buttock. She has dozens of stitches and more healing and doctor's visits ahead. Her mom says she wants someone to be held accountable for what happened.
I've barely been able to eat for days. I'm so mad that nothing's happened yet. We're not going to let it go. We'll just keep on and keep on. Somebody's going to do something.
In Hansville, Lisa Crane, WVTM 13.
The district attorney's office says they have not received any paperwork from law enforcement on the case. They say unless that happens, their hands are tied. National Park Service employees who were furloughed are returning to work at North Carolina's Blue Ridge Parkway now that the government shutdown is over. The nonprofit organization Blue Ridge Parkway Foundation has been supporting the parkway during the 43-day shutdown. The CEO says she's happy employees are heading back to work, but also says she's concerned about the impact the shutdown had on the park. She says there has been damage, including vandalism, due to the lack of stewardship, saying they will not know the full scope until all of the rangers return to work.
There was vandalism, there were impacts, lots of camping in places that was not appropriate, lots of roadside impacts, vehicles up on areas on the parkway that were causing resource damage.
Still to come, conditions in Southern California are leading to evacuations in some areas as heavy rain rolls through. The latest is coming up after Bill's forecast.
And man, oh man, another absolutely awesome day of college football. Alabama had a massive game with Oklahoma. We'll show you how that went down. Plus, a game you just saw here on News Channel 9 before us. Georgia in a huge clash with Texas. We'll talk about it a little later in sports. You will not want to miss it.
It's time to play America's favorite jackpot game. This is Powerball. Good evening, America. I'm Laura Johnson. Tonight we have another life-changing jackpot for you. It's worth an estimated $548.7 million, so get those tickets out. Let's play. That first number up is Lucky 7, followed by the number 6. Tonight we're going to meet Richard Silverthorne, who won $100,000 playing Powerball. Congratulations, Richard. Now for the rest of those numbers, we've got 47, 53, rounding it out with the number 12. Your Powerball number tonight, good luck everyone, is 21, and your Power Play multiplier is 4. Let's take a look at those numbers one last time. Remember, there are multiple ways to win. We'll see you back here Monday night. Good night, everyone.
And as we watch the storm tracker here, very thin line of showers across Kentucky and then farther into the areas northeast of us. Now, this very minor front is going to pass through our area overnight, and that's why over the past couple days I've been mentioning a sprinkle of rain or a brief shower. Really, it's not extending very much to the south at this point from Kentucky, but we still could create a shower or a sprinkle of rain perhaps overnight. Doesn't seem too likely though. But as we get in a little closer here, we're still under the influence of some clouds, but not too many. We are going to find ourselves on temperatures now in the low to mid 60s across the area for the most part. But we have some 50s as well, like Murphy's 59, 56 Dalton, and let's see, 49 Fort Payne, the coolest spot. And as we look hour by hour for tomorrow, and we'll start it off in the morning, temperatures not as cool as they were this morning by a long shot. And in fact, even by 9 a.m., we're already 65 degrees. Now, we start off the day just after sunrise with some clouds, but then turning sunny, or mostly sunny anyway, as we go through the day. And temperatures reach the low 70s. So as we look at future track, this is early morning hours. You don't see too many showers out here. I don't see anything really plotted. It would be just a sprinkle of rain. Temperatures getting down into the upper 50s, lower 60s in the morning, and then back up to the low 70s tomorrow. And you notice an absence of clouds here as we go through the future track over the next 72 hours or so. This is afternoon hours on Monday. Again, just a few clouds. Tuesday was a day that I was expecting to see some scattered showers, but the latest run looks a little drier here as we go into the afternoon and into the evening hours. So we'll see how that works out. I still haven't changed the forecast for Tuesday. I still got scattered showers in there. High 72 for Sunday, 65 on Monday, a little cooler, and then back to near 70 degrees, maybe a little warmer by the time we get to the middle of the week. Mary Beth?
All right, Bill, thank you. In Southern California, they're in the middle of an atmospheric river and getting soaked maybe as much as a month's worth of rain in a day. Evacuation orders issued for some in burn scar areas amid concerns of possible mudslides and debris flows. Here's ABC's Jacqueline Lee with the latest.
Southern California being hit with heavy rains, more than 22 million residents bracing for possible flash flooding and the risk of mudslides and debris flows in areas burned by wildfires earlier this year.
The problem with rain in Southern California is it usually comes down all at once. If it would just spread out a little bit, we could do a little bit better by it.
Sheriff's deputies going door to door in the Eaton burn scar area in Altadena, notifying residents of evacuation orders.
Evacuation warning.
Rafi Kurjian's home was spared by the fires and mudslides earlier this year, but he's concerned about this round of heavy rains.
It seemed like at least some of the growth in the vegetation on the mountain has already come back, which is really helping retain some of that debris.
In preparation for the storm, officials installing more than 13,000 feet of K-rail, which are concrete barriers that help prevent mudslides from destroying roads and homes.
Still, drivers urged to use caution. This Tesla spinning out on the rain-soaked freeway, careening across 3 lanes before colliding on the opposite shoulder.
I do know that California drivers, they're not used to driving in adverse weather.
California Governor Gavin Newsom deployed more than 270 personnel ahead of the storm, including several search and rescue teams, helicopters, and dozers near burn scar areas.
The crews are out reconning, looking for any potential hazards, access routes that in the event that something were to happen, that at least we know how we could get in, how it could be assistance, where we could stage apparatus.
Residents urged to stay home.
Cuddle up, watch a movie, spend some family time.
And those evacuation orders in the burn scar areas of the Altadena, Pacific Palisades areas remain in effect through tomorrow morning. Jacqueline Lee, ABC News, Los Angeles.
Still to come, the Georgia Bulldogs facing off against the Texas Longhorns tonight. Big Will Levinson goes over all the highlights and more at the TVFCU Sports Desk.
This is the TVFCU Sports Desk.
Boy, oh boy, the SEC title race is hot and heavy. 5 teams entered Saturday with just 1 SEC loss or less. 2 of them, Alabama and Georgia, faced very difficult tests at home today. And to stay in position for a spot in Atlanta, well, they got a win. And the biggest, most marquee game of the day was down in Athens. The 5th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs at 10th-ranked Texas Longhorns. It does not get much bigger than this. Pick it up second quarter. Dogs up 7-3 near the end zone, and in the end zone, Gunnar Stockton to Noah Thomas, 4-yard touchdown toss, their second connection of the game. But Texas, they've won 4 in a row. They're not going away. Arch Manning rips it to Ryan Wingo. Texas has their response. Longhorns defense was doing their part. So we've got a 4-point game in the second half, but the Georgia Bulldogs, week in and week out, have been at their best in the fourth quarter. London Humphreys open over the middle. So many big grabs on the year for him. Georgia extend the lead, but the Dogs were not done putting the pedal to the metal. Stockton fakes the QB run, and wide open is Lawson Lucky. Beautiful play call, perfect execution. Georgia, they make a statement at Sanford Stadium and get a huge win over Texas, and for now, likely get themselves a top 4 seed in the playoff bracket. Dogs down the Longhorns 35-10. In another huge game earlier today in Tuscaloosa, Alabama taking on Oklahoma as the Sooners hope to hand the Tide their first SEC loss. And boy, shades of last year in Norman when an Oklahoma pick 6 ended Bama's playoff hopes. Well, the Sooners get things started with a pick 6 this year. Eli Bowen, 87 yards. OU leads by 10, but Alabama, they've been down before. Ty Simpson calmly finds the wide open tight end Josh Cuevas. Bama is back in it. Now they are down by 6. Ty threatening again. Daniel Hill punches it in. But Oklahoma's defense, one of the best in America, went on lockdown from that point on. And the Sooners offense, well, it was all off the leg of Tate Sandel. His 2 field goals in the second half are enough for Oklahoma to stun Alabama 23-21, but for the time with just one SEC loss, everything is still very much on the table for them. If Bama wins out, they still have a good chance to be in Atlanta for the SEC title. Meanwhile, in College Station, the only remaining undefeated team in the SEC, third-ranked Texas A&M, looked like they would be handed their first loss today, and it's a home game against 3-6 South Carolina of all teams. Gamecocks up 30-3 at the half, running away from the Aggies. But Texas A&M, they didn't hear no bell. Marcel Reed in this offense, I mean, they weren't wasting any time getting back in this thing. 3 quick scores in the second half. They're already within a score before we've even reached the fourth quarter, and the Aggies, well, they've come this far, might as well finish it off. Texas A&M scores 28 unanswered points in the second half to complete the largest comeback in school history, and more importantly, stay undefeated and atop the SEC standings. Just absolute craziness. to Neyland Stadium. The Vols are back at home after a week off, and they get a chance to get the offense rolling, taking on New Mexico State. Joey Aguilar firing it deep, and open is the touchdown machine. Chris Brazzell, his 8th of the year. Tennessee rocking the sweet new smoky gray uniforms, honoring our armed forces, and they strike first. And the Vols, well, they kept striking. How about Aguilar? Using his legs this time to add to the Tennessee lead, and UT just kept firing. Aguilar, back he goes through the air. Nice grab, Braylon Staley. No surprise, Tennessee cruises past New Mexico State at home, 42-9. Vols improved to 7-3. And the Chattanooga Mocs are in action down in Macon, Georgia today. And well, if there was any doubt about just how good the SoCon champs Mercer is, they shut those down today. The 8th-ranked Bears dominate the Mocs 63-17. UTC will close out the season next week on the road at Wofford. But there wasn't only football today. How about some hoops? UTC on the road in Fort Myers, Florida, taking on FGCU. Pretty pass here. Billy Smith hits the open Tate Darner for the easy deuce. Turnaround J. Jordan Friesen knocks it down. And Dan Earl told us to expect some growing pains from his team this year. That includes 9 new players that weren't a part of last year's NIT champion team. And it has been a difficult start to the Mocs schedule, and, well, they have struggled with it. All Eagles down in Florida at FGCU. They down the Mocs 91-73. UTC falls to 1-3. It's been a rocky start to the season so far for the defending NIT champion, but still a whole lot of time left in the basketball season for the Mocs to right this ship. But boy, just another awesome Saturday of college football. Don't go anywhere. More news and weather is next.
A Tennessee police officer remains in critical condition after a crash involving a motorcade for Vice President J.D. Vance. Maryville police say Officer Justin Brown was hurt when his motorcycle collided with a Tennessee Highway Patrol SUV last night. The trooper in the SUV was checked on scene and released. Chief Tony Crisp thanked those who pulled over to help the officers, calling them true heroes. Vance was in Tennessee for a fundraiser. U.S. Secret Service says its thoughts are with the officer, his family, and the agencies involved. President Trump has issued 2 new January 6th related pardons. In Florida, Suzanne Ellen Kay served 18 months after threatening to shoot FBI agents investigating a tip that she was at the riot. She said she never meant to threaten anyone and said she was not at the Capitol. A White House official called her case disfavored political speech. In Kentucky, Daniel Wilson, who was at the riot, was pardoned after his gun conviction kept him behind bars. The White House said Wilson's home was only searched due to the riot investigation. Stick with us here on News Channel 9. Bill will be right back with a last look at your weekend forecast.
TVFCU, place for all of us.
It's my daughter's birthday, and we're smoking some jerk chicken. Lime juice, ginger, garlic, thyme, allspice. The history of jerk is about Jamaican slaves. They buried their food and smoked it in the ground so they can stay hidden. Serving food to me is about memory and passing down stories. I'm Chef Kenyatta Ashford with NutriGround and TVFCU, sharing the magic.
76 today. How about that? For the high, I mean.
Pretty good. I'm glad to see it warming up, especially after the the start of last week.
Right, we're still thinking about that. Tomorrow, which is just in a few minutes here, but we'll have a high of 72. Won't be quite as warm. We could still see a sprinkle of rain overnight, but then becoming mostly sunny during the day tomorrow. Be kind of partly sunny in the morning, mostly sunny afternoon. And then as we get into Monday, it's a little cooler, 65, but then we return to our low 70s for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Low temperatures are also warming up a little bit. It is going to be warmer tonight, overnight, and then back to 43 Monday morning and into the 50s later in the week.
All right. Well, thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
And we thank you for letting News Channel 9 be your choice for news. The news continues 24 hours a day at newschannel9.com. You can also join us on Facebook and X. We hope that you have a great rest of your evening.